yeah, it took a lot to get to my setup and click the stream button. The anxiety was killing me, but at the same time, I was like, I have dreams and aspirations, and I want to make those dreams into a reality. How am I going to do so if I don't hit the record button, the stream button? I'm just over there thinking, and nothing's happening. So yeah, I decided to, that's an achievement in itself. I don't know if you guys remembered, I showed you guys my mode of transportation, my vehicle per se. It's a motorbike. That thing is cursed, man. It happened again. It happened again. I know what you guys are thinking. Maybe you shouldn't drive that thing, and trust me, I'm not. But yeah, I'm gonna take this brace off. Okay, I went to the hospital. Okay, guys, they're like, listen, we couldn't find anything, and I was like, okay, well, thank you for.
Excuse me, what the fuck?
Putting in the minimalist effort. My hand is in pain, but it's okay. I'll deal with it later. I'll deal with arthritis later in life, but for now, I'm gonna power through it, and that's what I've been doing. I don't want you guys to be worried, but you know what? I have a high pain tolerance. It's no biggie. It's no biggie. Okay. So I was riding my bike to a mission.
Stop the cap.
Okay, and a car cut me off, and I ran over a pothole, and I went flying. This time, I didn't break ribs. I didn't hurt my arm. I landed straight on my palm. Just bam! So I think well, as I said, I went to the hospital. They didn't find anything. They did x-rays. They did actually like 5 x-rays. And they're like, yeah, we couldn't find anything, but we're not doubting that you're in pain or anything. I was going to become a doctor. That was my lifelong dream. But somewhere along the bone is probably bruised. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't really gone to the doctor. Actually, it's funny because I accompanied my mom to her orthopedic appointment, and the doctor was more concerned than I was. They were like, oh, I have a coworker that can check that out for you, and you should probably get it checked out if it hurts. But you know what? I've gained mobility. I've been using it, which is probably against doctor's orders, but I rode my bike to where I was going, to the destination of the mission. I had to leave it there for a couple days because obviously I was injured. So the day that I went to go ride it back home, it was storming out. Like it was like there was thunderstorms. It was raining a lot. It was very dangerous. I was going like 2 miles per hour instead of like 30 because I was scared. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never been so fearful of having another fall that I was like, you know what? If I have to walk with the bike, and this bike is huge, it's like 100 pounds, and the battery is like 20. I was like, if I have to walk with this bike all the way home for like 3 miles, I'll do so because I didn't want to be on the roads. The cars are crazy. People don't care. But yeah, anyways, I made it home. Now, where I live, there's like a patio area, but you really have to like come in to like, I don't know. I'll have to like kind of draw out the layout. But yeah, that's usually where I keep my bike. So there's a front part of the apartment like this. But then behind the apartment here, it's kind of like closed off to the street. And there's like a little like path that you would take to go around, you know, so you would go actually around. So actually the back of the building wouldn't be here. It would be back here.
Da Vinci?
If you guys understand. So yeah, that's where I keep my bike. I keep it chained. I keep it locked. I take the battery out because the batteries do have keys, kind of like an ignition to the car. Back to full cam. Oh my god, my production has increased. But anyways,
nice.
It was storming out. There was thunderstorms. It was dangerous. I was like, you know what? Just for tonight, I'm gonna leave it back here. Nobody's out here anyways, because there's a storm. You have to be crazy to be outside during a storm. But yeah, I just kept it there. And I couldn't take the battery out because that would have messed up the battery, the water and everything. So yeah, I left it there. Next morning, also I put the cover on the bike. And next morning, guess what? No bike. Just the cover. They left the cover, they took the bike, and I was like, who's stupid enough to steal from me? Because obviously I have a hidden air tracker.
Bruh.
Air tag? Yeah, an air tag hidden in the bike so I can track it down. So I did that. And I was like, oh, okay, it's down the street. It's literally my back street.
Yeah, no shit,
all the way
Sherlock.
down, across the street. There we go. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this by the book. I'm going to be a law-abiding citizen. Not going to take matters into my own hands. I called the cops. And I was like, yo, someone stole my bike.
A straight snitch.
I have an air tag on it. I can track it. Can you guys help me out? And they're like, oh yeah, you got to file. First of all, you got to go online or come in person to file a report. I did that. And then I called back immediately after. So I filed the report. I call and they're like, hey, so you have an air tag. You can track it. We'll meet you there. Okay, I'm making progress. Here we go. Here I am thinking in my mind, I'm going to get my bike back. And there we go. Here I am all bummed out. I'm like, oh no, like my bike. I was bummed out because it cost me quite a lot. I only bought it to get me to the missions. I say missions, but really work. And back, and that's it. But no, I didn't give up. I didn't lose hope. What I did was I charged my iPhone, since it's more precise. I went back to that street and I used my iPhone. Now, my iPhone was very precise, okay? It didn't give me no house. It didn't give me anything. It gave me an apartment building across the street from the house where the cops checked. So I was like, oh man, okay, let me call the cops again. I called the cops. I'm like, listen, sorry to call you guys and bother you. You guys checked the wrong house. I know the exact location of where the bike is. Trust me on this. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll meet you there, I guess, blah, 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 blah.
Nigga, the cops outside.
The cop meets his partner there. They meet me. I explain the situation. And then they were like, well, I mean, we'll look around the building, but we can't promise you anything because if we can't gain access into the building, then we can't do much. But if we do gain access to the building, we still can't do much because
You what?
people have to volunteer or voluntarily let us go and check and stuff like that. We can't go into apartments. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm trying really hard to abide by the rules, okay? To follow the laws and textbooks. Like, I'm doing this thing textbook, but no, it wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough. So they couldn't get access into the building. And yeah, that was attempt number 2. And I was like, listen, I'm gonna have to take matters into my own hands. I don't want to, but it's getting to the point where the police isn't helping. And this is the second time. But you know what? I went back. Outside the building, like in the back of the building, I was getting a signal from the AirTag. So it was telling me it was very weak. Obviously, it was a brick building, so obviously the signal is not going to be that strong. But I knew it was in the building, so I was like, listen, all right, so it has to be in this building. If I can just gain access to the building, I know exactly what apartment has it, and I can play a sound and know. Like, even if the person, if they open the door and they're like, hey, I don't have a bike here, and I play the sound and it comes from inside, I know you have my bike. So
You smart.
I was like, you know what? third time is the charm. Gonna call the cops. Actually, the cops before said, oh yeah, no, don't worry. A detective will be in contact with you in less than a day. Or 2, maybe. So I waited the 2 days. No detective ever called me. And I was like, fuck, okay, that sucks. The cops are always so useless. I agree. So this is what happened, right? So the detective didn't call me. I called the cops one final time. And I was like, hey, listen, I came here. I found the signal. It's in this building. If I have access to the building, I'll know exactly what apartment it's in. Because remember, as I said before, air tags are so precise to the centimeter. And yeah, I knocked on a window and that person opened up the door. That person worked for the office of the building. So I kind of got lucky there. But they were like, you know what? I can't let you in. I can't let you in because these guys are protected. We're protecting these people. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. They're like, oh, you got to call the cops and then call the property manager and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. Okay.
Emotional damage.
The next day, I go home. And at this point, I'm tired. It's just easier to just give up and leave it like that. It's like, okay, the bike was worth $2,000. Like it wasn't cheap at all. But you know what? To get myself to work, it was worth it because I make that money back. But yeah, I felt defeated. I came home. My mom calls me because I shared the location with her just in case. I was like, hey, if you want the location, here you go. You can track it and I'll check it and to see like if they're on the move. Because the cops said, oh yeah, we can't really do much. But if you catch them on the move, if you see that it's moving, you can call us. You don't even have to go. You can tell us that they're on the move, where they at, and we'll catch them. I was like, all right, man. At this point, the cops want me to do their job for them. Just give me the badge and the gun, and trust me, the crime rate would go down. But anyways, my mom calls me. Hey, the bike moved. The bike moved. Get ready. And I was like, it was like 10 a.m. and I was like so groggy from being tired and not sleeping and stuff. So I threw on some pants and everything. The people that stole my bike dumped it near a highway, near bushes where homeless people tend to like camp out and stay there and hang out, really. So I didn't really feel safe going about it myself. I wasn't scared or anything, but I was like, you know what? Third time's the charm. I'm gonna call the cops just in case some crazy dude is gonna pop out of the bushes and ambush me or some. I don't know. Maybe they left my bike there as bait, and then they were like, you know what? When he comes for it, we're gonna jump him. I don't know. I was thinking a whole bunch of things in my head, but yeah, I waited for the cop to show up. I was like, listen, my bike is here. They left it. This is a place known for people to hang out and stuff, so I want you to be here just in case. My bike was there. My first thought was, it wasn't thank God I found my bike, or yes, I found my bike, this is over with. No, it was like, really? You had to... Okay, I think the manufacturer gave you a cursed bike, bro. So sorry you had to deal with this. You know what? I said this to everyone. I said this bike is cursed. It's cursed. But yeah, I got my bike back. My first thought was, really? To the person that stole my bike, you had to dump it here? You couldn't have like the courtesy of at least leaving it where you took it from? And for me to find it there and be all like elated and excited that my bike is back home and that I can just easily. Honestly, I was just being lazy. But at the same time, like, yeah, why did you have to dump it in the side of the highway in a bush? Like, you could have just left it where you found it. But anyways, I was like, you know what? I'm relieved. Found my bike. But, and I say but, I found my bike, but the idiots stayed with the battery. They stayed with the battery of the bike. And guess what? I say idiots because you left the bike. Maybe I think my mom probably played the sound, because you could play the sound on the AirTag and they'll go off beep beep beep. So they probably got spooked. They dumped it. But at the same time, they stayed with the battery. And the battery, as I said, works like basically an ignition. Like if you don't have the keys to the battery, you can't ride it with the battery. You have to take the battery out. So I found it without a battery. And I was like, yo, cop, like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, they stole my battery. I got my bike back. He's like, oh, that's a nice bike. It looks very expensive. Wow. No. I was like, what am I supposed to do about the battery then? Like, what am I supposed to do about the battery? He's like, can I give you my honest suggestion? I would buy a new battery and forget about everything. Wow.
You are fake news.
I was like, I can see why the streets don't call the cops to handle stuff, because obviously, like, you know, I was kind of frustrated, but you know what? I got my bike back. I check online to see how much the battery of this bike costs. I'm not kidding you when I say the battery costs $500. Oof. It costs a third of what the bike costs, or a fourth of what the bike costs. That I folded up the bike. I keep it inside. It's literally in the corner of my apartment. It is a cursed bike. It is a cursed bike because in the time that I've had it, I've broken my ribs. I've broken my arm. Now I have an injured wrist, hand, and I don't really want to waste $500, $600 on a battery. So, you know, and what sucks too is that I got warranty on it. So I was thinking, like, my whole thing is like, okay, if I ever have like after my first accident, I was like, you know what? If I ever have another accident, what I would do is I will just file a claim whenever I can with the insurance company, and I'll get my full money back or whatever.
Genius. Okay.
I can't even file a claim now because I don't have a battery. I'm so pissed. Like that's what sucks about it. But yeah, anyways, that happened. But whatever. I mean, it's a cursed bike. It's a cursed bike. I don't want to really talk about it. I don't want to think about it anymore. You know, I have enough to deal with, okay? I had the pain to remind me of that tragedy.